Have you ever been added to a group chat?
All the time.
And what do you do when you get added to group chats?
Well, me, I'm the type.
And let's say it's a group chat that has more than 10 people.
Oh, I mute it automatically.
Okay. So this week, I'm sure you've heard the news, child. The the Atlantic editor. The Atlantic is like a media news corporation, right? Like let's say like the New York Times, right? The Atlantic is something equivalent to that, right? So the Atlantic editor, Jeffrey Goldberg, was mistakenly added to a Signal group chat. Think of something like WhatsApp, okay? Was added to a Signal group chat where top Trump administration officials, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, discussed U.S. military plans for airstrike on Houthi targets in Yemen. Essentially, this is like Rebecca and I being added to a WhatsApp group chat where people are talking about a strike that's going to happen in Palestine. What? Like, it is actually, let alone, like, do we have the graphic here?
Yes,
so the editor of the Atlantic thought it was a joke because here it is. The first screenshot you see there, I mean, it's so small, but it says like Michael Waltz added you to the group. This is from like the point of view of the Atlantic editor, right? And it also says disappearing messages time was 1 week. So essentially, like after a week, these messages will disappear. But the gag is, we could take this off. These are all text messages from the Signal group chat. These are the same individuals, right, that are so worried about, God forbid, we let a minority into a position of power. It's because of DEI. They're not qualified. But when these white men make a mistake, everything is fine. Oh, people make mistakes. Oh, we weren't talking about anything in the chat. They were, because it had, the Atlantic editor thought it was all a hoax. And until it came down to like the day where the attack was about to happen, he literally stayed in his car to be like, okay, he got the Signal chat where it says, oh, in 2 hours, we're going to drop the first, whatever you think that they use. So he stayed in his car. And 2 hours later, he went on Twitter and he searched like, Houthi strikes or whatever. And he saw the effects of that strike. This means that the Atlantic editor knew 2 hours in advance what was about to happen. If anyone that is an adversary to the United States would have gotten that information, do you know how much of a security threat that is for all these Republicans and all these right-wing people that care so much about our troops and about America and all of that? These people are putting us, not only us, but our troops in jeopardy. That is ridiculous. Mind you, these high-level officials are not supposed to be using a commercial app like Signal or WhatsApp or none of that. They have their like own separate government-approved type of messaging softwares where, you know what I'm saying, it's not likely to be hacked, or all of these security measures are in place because they are talking about top level communications. And now the gag of it all is that they're trying to downplay it. Like, oh, I don't know how this man got in, or, oh, well, we were just talking about this and that. There was nothing major happening. The fact that you added someone to a group chat, the Atlantic editor at that, I'm so sorry, but you would have to go. And I don't care. The other funny thing is a lot of Republicans are just like, there are some that are saying like, no, we need to, investigate this more. How did this end up happening, et cetera, et cetera. But there are those that are just like, oh no, like it's okay. If the roles were reversed and this would have happened under Biden or any Democratic leader, oh baby, you remember what happened with Hillary Clinton and all the emails and this and that? It was like a whole charade, boom, 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 boom. But then when Republicans do it, or when a white male does it, it's like, oh, well, no, it's okay. Well, actually, it is not okay. And everyone has to be held to the same exact standards. And also, like, these people are getting paid bank, right? I think the person that created the chat was what's his name? I have it here. It's what's his name?
The person who created it?
Yeah, it was like Michael Waltz or
Michael
something like.
Waltz. Yeah.
Okay, so he was the one that created the chat. First, he sent like an invite to the editor, and then he went again and added him to the chat the next day. It's just like, it's mind baffling, because when I get added to a chat, before I say what I want to say, I need to see who's in that chat.
Mm.
And I understand, like, the last thing you're thinking is that you're gonna add someone that is not a part of the government to the chat. Like, that's obviously, you're not gonna do that. And so that's probably why jdvance, the vice president, was in this chat. Pete Hegseth, like, these are high level people. We're not talking about just Joe Schmo from the street. These are high level government officials that should never be discussing any type of high qualified information in a chat. Like, you're talking about bombing people. What?
Yeah. I mean, when you sent this to me, I didn't know anything about it, but like, also that y'all know, Shayla's the one who keeps me informed of everything politics. First off, I didn't know we had beef with Yemen. I'm gonna start there. I didn't
have
know.
beef with everybody.
Girl, I mean, shoot. They said, who's next? That's literally how the Harry song go. Jump in, who's next? Like, that's literally what it's giving. I think my only thoughts for this is that, like, I feel like I have made those mistakes where I've sent people the wrong text message and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, sending the wrong text message or adding the wrong person to a group chat is different when you don't have sensitive information that you are holding.
Right.
It's like, it's a mistake when you aren't controlling a important organization or anything like that, or, talking about US versus another country. So I think for me, yes, it could have been a mistake. Yeah, y'all can downplay it, but that's why y'all are in power, because we don't need mistakes like this happening, right? So, like, to your point, I know somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, it's a what if," but it didn't happen. So why are y'all even worried? Okay, but the potential of it actually happening and getting into the wrong person's hands is the problem. And before y'all sit there and say, "Oh, like, y'all are dragging it," y'all love to say, protect veterans, protect veterans, protect veterans, protect our soldiers, protect our troops. But why is that not the consistent energy that y'all are having right now? Because that potentially could have affected those troops that you keep shouting for.
Yeah, and not let alone, like, yes, the troops, but also American people. Like, if these, the Houthis in Yemen, I'm sorry if it's Yemen or Yemen, I'm probably mispronouncing, but if the Houthis in Yemen would have been able to, like, somehow, you know what I'm saying, get into this chat and hack it, they would have known 2 hours in advance and would have been prepared for a counterattack. Like, that is what is, like, that is a problem. Regardless of how you try to talk about it, if the roles were reversed, these same people that are now trying to, like, be like, it's okay, would have not been saying it's okay, because we still talking about Hillary Clinton emails. And so we need to keep the same energy. And also, like Rebecca says, yes, we all have made a mistake and sent a message to the wrong person, but Michael Waltz is Trump's national security advisor. Your job is national security, making sure that the American people are secured. You, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, you're held to a different standard. That is your whole job. Like, if you committed to this role, you have to understand that your job is national security. You're an advisor. And so you have a platform, different things that the regular American people don't even know about. Those are the sources of communication that you should be using to talk about these situations, not Signal.
Exactly. And also, it's like, it's kind of the same issue that they keep bringing up with TikTok. Like, we don't want our information getting in the wrong people's hands. Okay, so because y'all don't want the people having our information, let me see how y'all are doing it to make sure that y'all are keeping our own issues and everything like that intact with us. but y'all talking about stuff through a little app. I thought this was conversations that happened in the Oval Office in person. What, I'm confused. Maybe the process switched up and I just never.
No, it did not. And also another big point of this is all the communication that happens in the White House is supposed to be archived. You know what I'm saying? Preserved. And when they made this chat, it said that it's only available for a week. So this is like the one chat that we got to see because the Atlantic editor was added. But imagine how many other top secret information they could have been talking about that we haven't seen. And in a week, all of that information is gone. And they could lie in our faces because none of that information is tracked. It deleted a week from now. It's
Right.
ridiculous.